This week, we read Portal to Pleasure, an MMMF erotic monster novella by Viono Oniomoh. If I pronounce that wrong, I am so sorry. When my best friend sends me the screenshot of an article titled Female Masturbation Can Apparently Open a Portal to Hell, after the day I had, I jokingly replied with, Guess who's about to open 10,000 portals up in this bitch? I didn't expect the universe to actually call my bluff and have my first mind-blowing orgasm in years rip open a literal portal in my bathroom. Now there are three fantastical beings in my home, and I don't think they plan on leaving until they get what they want, and what they apparently want is me.
Can
Hello.
hear you. I can hear you now.
Yay!
It's kind of important sometimes.
I don't know how important it is.
I think it's important whether other people make you feel that way or not. I like your stripes on your sleeves with your hair. Like it goes nice with
Look
your
at my
hair.
eyeballs.
Ooh, I like it.
Right? No one can really tell though because I have to wear glasses because I'm blind.
Yeah. I
Yeah, isn't
yeah.
it cute? And if I buttoned it,
Aw.
it's a little heart. Yeah. What are you eating? That looks good.
A steak and cheese sub.
Ooh, they look more sandwichy than sub.
Yeah. I forgot. See, I forgot to take something out of the freezer
Oh,
last night because, you know,
that's fine. That's okay.
happens sometimes.
Yeah, life is
It's been a
something.
week, I tell you.
For me, it hasn't. I just have been existing. So, like, there's that.
And then I just dropped this. So
You're drinking a soda.
yeah, I know. And I don't like it.
I
But
don't like
my head
it.
hurts really bad.
Uh,
And I was hoping that the caffeine might just like,
yeah, sometimes I have to do that. And grab like a soda with caffeine in it.
but my medication still makes soda taste like trash. So I
Yeah.
actually don't like it. I like the carbonation in my mouth? Yes. Does it taste great? No.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping that
See, it's
the
funny because when I was taking the migraine meds, I couldn't taste the carbonation, so any soda just it nothing. I don't
so
like flat soda.
yeah, I can taste the carbonation, but it tastes funny. So it makes the taste
Uh,
of it taste funny.
Ew, annoying. So annoying.
Like it makes it taste flat, but with bubbles. It's the
Ugh.
straight, it like it has the flat taste,
Ugh.
but then I still have bubbles because I
Don't
buy
like
the zero
that.
one because it has the extra bubbles, so I have a chance at getting bubbles. Because the zero one, for whatever reason, it
I just
gives
like
more
the
bubbles.
chance.
It's no for real.
It's so
If I
funny.
buy the regular one, not the zero, I get no bubbles. Like for me, like the taste.
Mm, got
And I'm sure
you.
the zero one is worse for me. It probably has all that chemical crap, but
Meh.
let me live my bubble life.
I mean, yeah. So, welcome to Pride Month, guys.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't dress like this every day. Maybe I should, though. I should. Who knows what I'm gonna wear the next time? My hair is just consistently a pride flag, so like that's
Your hair is
okay.
just cut.
It is. It's fine. It's okay. Um, but anyways, but it's Pride Month. And listen, our first special for this month was really wild. And Ariel texted me before I had read it and said, I don't want to ruin anything, but I just want to say fever dream.
What in the fever dream was my first response to reading this was what
Yeah,
in the fever
and
dream.
I'm gonna be so real that I in my
I didn't say
brain,
that's necessarily a bad thing. I'm just
no, oh God, no, 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 no. but I am going to state up front. Writing the notes was a wild experience, and there's going to be a lot of glossing because shit gets really intense there for a while. And
I'm
then some parts to me were a little, but you know what? It's fine.
going to tell you though, this, we haven't even said what we're reading yet, but this book is 80 something pages. Okay. Very short. So I
90% of
wish
that.
that I had read this book in a place in my house. I read this book in my bedroom. So I wish that I was not already in my bedroom and not too lazy to get up and go get the dolls because I felt like I needed them in many parts of
I
this,
I felt that way too, and
but I was too lazy.
my dolls are in my old bedroom on my bookshelf, and I just was also too lazy to get up and get them. So, when it sounds weird and I sound confused, it is because I am confusion. There was one part though where they said one thing, but then it said a different person's name, and I was like, I don't know what's happening. And honestly, this is not the most amount of men we've had in a scene, so like it
No,
shouldn't have been that complicated, but it was really complicated because a lot of
but the
shit.
whole thing was a fever dream.
You'll understand partially when I read you some of the content warning. Content note for all who might need it. Mentions and references to a terrible boss. Brief mention and references to emotionally abusive parents. Brief mention and reference to an emotionally abusive, manipulative ex. Brief reference to FMC having a total hysterectomy and explicit sex scenes, which include but are not limited to masturbation, double penetration, sex without a condom, sex with a tentacle, and fellatio.
In 80 something pages.
Yeah.
That's why everything is brief mention, brief mention, brief mention.
Yes, 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 yes. But here we are with an MMMF book,
Oh,
and
yeah.
so much happened. Melody is our FMC. And she is on the phone with her friend, and she tells her that she needs to just not panic. And her best friend replies with, "Who do we need to bury?" And honestly, this is very reminiscent of any conversation that Ariel and I have. Melody says, "Listen, why are you like this?" And again, a lot of this interaction, I was like, "Oh, that's Ariel and I." Most of their friendship, I was like, "Okay." I mean,
It's
you
funny
guys all,
because I often, when I call Crystal or vice versa, we have to preface the kind of conversation we're going to have and the kind of version that
yes.
we need. So,
Like, I need you to be an actual bitch to me, or I need you to be
yeah.
nice to me.
The other day I was like, no, I need the bitch you, not the hype man friend. No, I need legit real times here.
Yes, yeah. But but Celine says, "I'm serious. I will literally drop everything," and asks if it's her boss. And did she finally snap and wring her neck? And when Melody goes, um, she goes, "Oh my God, did you actually snap?" But basically, Melody quit on the spot in the middle of the work party. She
In
is
the
an
middle of
interior
the night.
in my dreams. She she's an interior designer, and the project she had been working on for so long, it put so much work into. Her stupid dumb cunt of a boss took all of the credit. That is not her words, those are my words, but that's okay. And she just snapped. And then as she's discussing this with her friend, she starts getting incoming messages from her ex-girlfriend. And Celine says,
I had no
"You know
idea where
what?
any of this
Neither did
had
I.
anything to do
Had
with
no
anything.
idea where anything was going at any point in this book."
Complete fever dream.
Because all of a sudden we have just tentacles out and multiple penis. There was a lot going on. Okay.
Tentacles out.
Yeah. Avengers assemble.
Yeah, that's yes, that's yes, yes.
Also, I'll get there. I'll make the comment when I get there. Anyways, Celine says, "You know what? As I'm on the phone right now, you need to block her. Do it right now before you fucking piss me off." She brings the phone up from her ear, unlocks it, clicks open the message. It just says, "Everything is so fucking terrible. You're the only one who understands. I miss you, blah, blah, blah." Some people, not all of us, have gotten those messages from our exes. I do not because they don't like to associate with me afterwards or they do stupid shit. So Melody does what her friend says and blocks the ex. These two, by the way, love their friendship. Celine asks if Melody needs her to come over. By the way, she is not in the same country, so Celine would have to fly, and Melody says
I,
it's
I
okay.
recognize that it was my fault that I must have like, I don't know, blacked out or something. But at first I didn't realize they were on the phone. So when she was
Oh.
talking about, these this messages or whatever, I'm like, and how she was like telling her to block them, and then she was getting back. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I was so confused. And then she's talking about her being in another country and shit, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Yeah, it was me.
Ariel blacked out for a second. I
It's
don't know.
me.
She
Hi,
blacked out
I'm the
about as
problem.
many
It's
times
me.
as Melody blacks out throughout this book.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
So, anyways, Melody says, it's okay. I'm fine. Don't worry. Besides, I have grand plans for tonight.
She probably should have still come.
She 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 is going to use the rose vibrator that everybody got as a gag for Valentine's Day. And I just need to
Yeah,
state,
everybody.
I in our group chat, we have discussed this rose vibrator.
And
So
you don't get to
the
learn
fact
more
that
unless you pay for it.
it
No.
anyways, I just thought it was so funny that like we literally have recently talked about this thing and it is now in a book. So
Like this week too. We like
some ethereal being has its way,
it's the
whatever.
curse of 2025 with us.
Yeah, that's true. It keeps happening.
Yeah.
Celine is shocked that she hasn't even been using it because it has been 7 months. But Melody tells her,
Girl.
listen, the project was so big, and I literally just moved out of my parents' house. And she thought it would be really awkward to do it in her parents' house. But I have to say, you just wait till people go to sleep. If you live with people who you don't want hearing those things, you wait until they go to bed and then you do it. Or, I don't know, figure out a way. I find a way all the time. That's a lot of information. Happy
I,
Pride Month, bitch.
we don't need to tell anyone
No,
that.
we find a way. It's fine. Lots of TMI. You're good. Enjoy
Really?
that. Please don't. I was a teenager once.
Right.
I know my beautiful 35-year-old exterior of being a millennial, and I look like I am perpetually 18 years old, may fool you, but I was once a young teen that had to hide that shit. Millennials don't age. I'm going to stand on that. Anyways,
No,
so
but I
she
will
says,
say that since we've been 30, we at least look like adults.
I do finally look like an adult.
Yeah, I think since we've been 30,
You barely pass as an adult because of your height, but like at least you
but I
pass as
because
an adult.
if people actually like, get a good look at me, but
Well,
like
unless you go on a field trip and then they think you're a child.
because I think they just don't pay attention. Or if I
Facts.
go to
Okay.
Walmart and do you need
That is true.
help, little girl?
Oh my God.
No, no, I don't.
No.
No, but I do kind of appreciate. I know other people would like be like, "Meh," but since we've been 30, I do kind of appreciate that we actually look like adults now
Hmm.
versus the baby
Maybe
face.
one day I will be treated as an adult, but unfortunately, I'm just a woman.
I'm still waiting for that day too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Melody says that she's going to relax and she's going to have a great night because she's going to have a nice long bath and about 1 million orgasms. But she is not going to tell the group chat everything about everything that happened until tomorrow because she's just currently not in the mood. So she hangs up the phone with Celine and Melody just drinks her champagne. And tonight was the night for hopefully the hardest orgasm a
Tonight
woman would
will be
ever
the
have.
night that I will orgasm over and over again
Yeah,
with the rose vibrator. Don't make me
Jesus.
change my mind.
Well,
Okay. Gonna
it's
open a
gonna.
portal up in this bitch.
Yeah, tomorrow's going to be a well-deserved rest day. And then her phone vibrates, and Celine had texted her, and it was the article that says female masturbation can apparently open a portal to hell. And she just texts back, guess who's about to open 10,000 portals up in this bitch. She locks her phone and then she heads to her bathroom. She sets up her bath. She's got a bath bomb. She's got music. She's got her toys. And she is not planning on stopping with just one orgasm because
Mm-mm.
Celine had once told her that her highest record of solo back to back orgasms in one night was six. And I just want to state, I can't do that solo. One and I'm done.
I hope that she didn't put oil in her bath.
I hope not either, because you don't want to deep fry yourself when you step in. Just so you know, Ariel deep fried her foot. She tried to cook herself.
Listen, I like my bath really hot. I didn't know.
We like it the temperature of where we came from, which is hell, in case you're curious.
I don't like to get out of the bath or the shower unless I look like a lobster.
Right, exactly.
No.
But Melody wants to beat this record, by the way. And so she gets herself settled into this bath and she does think to herself, like, when was the last time she touched herself like this? When is the last time she even
When
had
I
time to
think
soak
about you, I
in a
touch
bath?
myself.
And she promises herself that this is going to be a new chapter and she is going to make sure she puts herself first in everything. She thinks of the screenshot that Celine sent her and, thinks to herself, what if I did have an orgasm powerful enough to open a portal to hell in my bathroom? A demon could come through, and then she really starts to let her imagination run away from her. And honestly, same girl, same. As she touches herself, she's just thinking about this demon coming out and taking care of her. She does admit she had to look up instructions on how to use the rose because she did not
Mm.
want to be sitting in this bathtub figuring out how
Were
to
we
use it.
supposed to do that?
I've never looked up instructions on how to use anything in my entire life.
That's
I've
what,
always been a wing it girl.
yeah. And that just
She
dawned
just
on
didn't want
me.
to
I know,
embarrass
but that
herself, I
just
guess.
dawned on me. I don't think I've ever, I think I've just always just, I'm gonna figure it out. Even all the things that have all kinds of buttons and different things, I'm like, well, we're gonna find out.
Yeah.
We're gonna find out what this
Experimentation.
does.
Yeah, it's great.
Up in this
Sh
bitch.
Up in this bitch.
Up in this bitch.
But yeah, while she's in the tub, she wanted an easy orgasm. That's why she looked up the instructions. She just continues to tease herself, still imagining this demon. She starts to feel her orgasm coming, and she comes so hard. And it hits her so hard that she couldn't even scream. And when she finally calms down, she thinks, ugh, the girls had not been lying when they said that the rose was a gift from God.
No
She'd been
wonder she
so
didn't want to do it at her mother's house if she couldn't not scream.
no, she
I
couldn't
know, I know,
scream.
but
So
normally,
like
if she normally was,
that is fair. That is also I understand that. Yeah, she's not quiet. But she was so focused on her own pleasure that she forgot about the fantasy that she had been building. And when she opens her eyes, she sees a glowing white rectangle on the wall and she's thinking, what the fuck is that? It almost looks like a doorway. And then three hulking, maybe people, step out of the glowing rectangle, one after the other, into her bathroom. And she goes entirely still. One is thick and round. The dude reminds her of a werewolf. She says thick and round. It's a
thick
weird
and
thing.
round. I
The
know.
other one is slim and slender
And it was
and
funny because they
glittering.
were like, oh, he's not fat like the other one. I know it was weird the
Yeah.
way it was described.
Is slim and slender and glittery, and the last one is built like the other two, kind of, but not slender with black skin. And that last one's eyes are glowing red, and the tip of his tail is a heart shape, and it's also red. And they just stare at her, and the red-eyed demon says, "Wow," and she's just thinking, "What the fuck?" Because it turned her on and all three of their noses flare because they can smell the brief surge of arousal. Just know from here on out, guys, I'm sorry about every single word that comes out of my mouth, but also not really. They say hello, and she says hi. And she thinks that if she acts normal, she would wake up and realize that her orgasm had just been so intense that she simply passed out and had a very vivid dream inspired by her unfinished fantasy. But there was a clearly unhinged part of her
Fantasy.
that did that wanted it to be true. She really wanted this to be actually like real. The creature with a dad bod, who she thinks is a werewolf, says Seos, I thought all your cards were temporarily out of commission. And he goes, I did too, but I guess not. But I am not about to turn down an invitation. They ask her her name, and they call her goddess, and she starts to swoon. And she thinks to herself, don't you swoon? Unique pet names are a low fucking bar. She introduces herself as Melody. They ask her if goddess is all right, or if she would prefer God or something gender neutral, but she says goddess is perfectly fine. Their names are Seos, Sin, and Thrick. And I'm going to tell you right now, when I start describing things, there is going to be a lot
That's
of
because Brick
rhyming
is
going.
thick.
There's going to be a lot of rhyming going on. I'm
Mm.
just going to tell you that right now. And he says, I
Oh,
know that
interesting.
what?
So I looked up instructions on how to
Oh,
use because I've never done that before. And, you know, I was
yeah.
like, you know, I'm sure maybe I'm wrong. I'm sure maybe, oh, who knows? So apparently, you should make sure the area is moist. You can use some lubricant because lubricant allows the cavity of the vibrator and the to get deeper and with less friction and blah 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 blah. It literally says all this. And then you need to create an airtight vacuum by covering in the correct area and hold down, and then it's showtime. Press the settings and go. Yeah, it's not. Come on,
Okay. I'm
not
assuming you
rocket
want me to cut
science.
that, even though I'm enjoying every single part of this conversation
You
right now.
you do you.
But Seo says, I know that you called just me, but you wouldn't mind if we all tagged in, would you? And she's thinking, please don't let this be a dream. She tells them she does not mind. And
I've
it
done that
seems
too.
like yeah, it seems
No,
like
used it on my
Melody.
boobs.
Oh, I'm like, what?
No, sorry.
Okay, Ariel's getting sidetracked. It seems like Melody chapter 2, Me, Myself and I was starting right now. Seos asks if the
I mean, I
boys have
could, but
any
why would I want to?
Yeah, asks if the boys have any complaints, and neither one of them do, obviously. He tells her that if at any point she does not like what they're about to do, her safe word is butter. Don't know.
I wish they explained that more.
I do too. Why butter? Like, what the hell?
We
And he
never, like,
says,
never got any little cutesy explanation, nothing.
yeah. And he says, all right, time to have some fun. And all of a sudden,
Cause says just wanna have fun.
all the clothes are gone. And, okay. Thrick has a thick and dark dick. Se- Seos has two dicks, and they weren't as
Please.
big. Just this next section is just going to get really rough with the rhyming, so I'm so sorry. And Seos has two dicks, and they weren't as big or thick as Thrick's, but they had a curve which she knew would feel really good against her G spot. Sin's dick was as long as Thrick's and just as thick, but has additional ridges along the underside with two rows of round bumps evenly spaced from base to top that resembled a Jacob's ladder. She realizes her body all of a sudden is defying gravity and that the bathroom is filled with water, reminding her of the one scene from The Shape of Water, which I actually have seen that movie
Mhm.
before. And so I had a perfect visual. They let her know that she can breathe under this water and Seos asks if she would prefer a condom or a magical protection. And she goes, huh? And they explain, and she goes for the magic. And then we are getting into it. And I need to let you guys know that this book is probably like 85 to 90% banging. But it's fine. But Melody thinks, whatever. These three fantastical men wanted to do her, and she wanted it so bad. And then Seo starts kissing her, and she glances over at Sin, and now there's four tentacles floating out from his back. And Seo says that those only come out when he's really turned on, and Sin wraps the tentacles around her ankles and wrists and help her be spread eagle. And she's thinking, who knew she was into bondage? And she is so turned on. And then Seo says that he wants Sin to get her ass ready. She's never had her asshole touched before, but she is so into this. And so then Sin lifts her higher into the air until her crotch is lined up with his mouth. And then he starts to eat her ass out with his amazing tongue, and Thrick comes closer, and Seos has him play with her tits, and then he also ends up kissing her upside down. And she thought it would feel weird, kind of like the Spider-Man kiss, but it doesn't. And honestly, I have kissed somebody upside down like that, and to me, it feels like I'm just licking their tongue, and it's weird to me. I
Maybe
just
she
don't
likes
know.
licking their tongue.
Maybe, but he kisses her slow and deep, and I'm gonna be so honest that so much fucking happens, and I have a hard time explaining it all. But she comes and keeps coming, and Seos is thrusting fingers into her ass, or it could be Sin's tongue. She doesn't know. And then
We don't
Seos,
know.
we don't know.
Nobody
And Seos,
knows.
yeah. Seos tells them to switch around, and now Thrick is between her legs, and he eats her out and gives her another orgasm. And then Seos fucks her, and as he is fucking her with his two dicks, mind you, the other two are off on the side, and Seos tells them to make each other come, so they're jerking each other off, and then Seos is fucking her, and then they all come, and she comes, and then she blacks out.
Come together right now.
Over
Call on
Melody.
me.
Yeah. She
Um,
wakes up from probably one of the best naps of her life, feeling like she has literally been fucked to sleep, and she was. And every inch of her aches. But they cleaned her up and they take care of her and they feed her. They make fruit appear out of nowhere, and it's just really cute. And then she
and
asks,
she's
what's the
like, this
deal?
is the best fucking fruit ever. What the
Right?
fuck is this
Ah,
shit?
what the hell, man? And then
She
she,
was obsessed with that fruit. I don't even get
dude,
it. It
listen,
was
if
like
it
a
was
whole
that
nother
good,
plot point. This fruit was a character in this book, and I don't know why.
it, I don't either.
No idea.
No idea. She asks what the deal with all three of them is because obviously they have something going on. And Seo says that Sin is his and they are each other's and have been for a while now. As for how Thrick and Sin and him got there, it's a very long, complicated story. But what matters is that
But we
they're
don't
there
know.
now. We don't know because they don't tell us this. And they want Thrick to be theirs as well. And actually, they had just reached that conclusion that they all wanted each other when she apparently called Seos. So here's the thing. They all think that she called him and she did not. But she just goes along with it.
She just goes along with it. Yeah, yeah. Just
Yeah. And Thrick asks her, what about her? And she goes, what about me?
what
And
about
he,
her? Sorry, I've
what
had a really
about
long week.
us? What about everything we've been through? Sorry, I'm singing High School Musical over here. I don't. Okay. Anyways, and he goes,
What
"You're
about
lovely,"
trust?
and they were just curious about her. So she ends up just basically trauma dumping on them about her job and her family and just everything and her ex-girlfriend, all this other stuff. And she says that when she called Seos, it's because she didn't
That she
want
didn't do.
today to yeah, she didn't want today to seem like a bad thing. And they asked if it helped, if they helped, and she's like, I didn't even realize how much I wanted this, but it was exactly what I needed. And then Sin says, I don't think it's fair that I'm the only one who hasn't kissed you yet. So she says, come here and
Give
kiss
it to
me.
me, baby.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. And then Sin and Seos make out, and Sin decides that he wants to fuck Melody's tits. And Seos tells him to ask her like a good boy. And he asks her to fuck her tits. So he does. And they ask Sin to hold her body open with all his tentacles for the other two. And then Thrick eats her out, and then Seos eats her out, and they're all being all over each other. And after she comes, Seos asks her how she's feeling. And if she thinks that she can take them again, she wants it to happen. So he asks the other two to help him stretch her out. So Seos arranges them in position, and she's on her knees with her face in his lap. Thrick is kneeling behind her, and his mouth is on her ass while Sin is fucking into her pussy. Because I'm just gonna say I don't know which word to use, and that seems the lesser of two. I don't know her lady bits and his tentacle
You
and
do
his
you.
tent.
I just couldn't tell where it was going anywhere.
No, and his tentacles are still holding her hands and legs open. Seos is stroking both of his dicks, and then he fucks her mouth. And there's just so much going on. And then Sin and Thrick slide into her, with Thrick and her vagina and sit in her asshole and they fuck her. And she can't really see what's going on. And
Mhm.
she's trying to
Nobody can
picture
understand how it's going on.
no. And she's trying to picture what Seos can see because, like, he's getting turned on just from watching this. And he asks her if she wants to see it. And he tells her to close her eyes. And when she does, she feels a touch to her forehead and she was in her body. And at the same time, she was not in her body. Basically, she, like, what is that?
He's
Astral
showing her,
projected out of
yeah,
her.
he's
Yeah.
showing her what he sees. Yeah.
Yeah. And she gets the scene to see the scene from outside. And, like, Thrick is getting to the point where he's about to come. And by the way, he has a knot. And he asks her if he can knot her. And she says yes. And so he does. And she comes so hard that she blacks out again. And when she wakes up, she's being cleaned up and
When
she's
I wake up.
cuddled with the three men. And she's feeling more content than she's ever felt in her life. And she falls back to sleep. She wakes up to a warm hand squeezing her shoulder. And Seos tells her that they have to go. She really doesn't want them to go, but she just says, yeah, that's fine. Seos hands her a piece of paper, which is his card, and says to call him at any time, and she goes back to bed. She wakes up panicking, for sure that this had all just been a dream. And she was
A
already
fever dream.
mourning it. Yeah. And she was already mourning it, but she picks up the card and it says portal to pleasure. And then it has Seos's name on it. And it says, hold this card when you come and then say my name. So it was
Say my
really
name, say my
say my
name.
name when no one is
When it's
around
around
you.
you,
Say,
say,
maybe I
baby, I
love you.
love you. Say, baby, I love
Yeah. But like everything, everything's hitting her and it's telling like it was all real, but everything at her house was back to normal. And her common sense unfortunately had returned and she thinks that that was the most
you.
careless,
Boo.
impulsive shit she has ever done because she could have died. Like they could have just poisoned her food, but it didn't really matter. On the small stool beside her tub, all her toys are resting because they had cleaned them, which is so sweet. And she took a nice hot shower. And when she goes to the kitchen, there is food everywhere, both cooked and uncooked, and covering the counters because she had joked about Seos making her food before they left, and he did. And there's a little note saying, like, this is a little parting gift because you really like the mangoes, so all the fruit and shit. And P.S. the food is going to last forever, literally. And so just feel free
It
to
was
take
some
your
kind of
time and eat it
special
all.
fruit, like from
Yeah.
their realm.
Just demonic fruit, I guess. And she just knew she was loved. Despite her abusive family and her former boss and manipulative ex, she knew she was loved. Despite everything, she managed to have a best friend and a support group. But it was times like these when someone noticed something small about her and used that to make her feel good. It just made her day a little bit brighter and made her feel like crying. And she just got the sudden urge to call Seos, but she stops herself and thinks, like, how this can't work. Like, they're just being nice, they're just being kind. And then we get an epilogue. And she is yelling at one of her friends at karaoke, telling her, you're doing amazing, sweetie. And the karaoke bar is just really fun for them. She had waited 6 months for the non compete clause in her contract with her former job to pass before she started up with
Her
her
former
form.
job being her parents.
Yeah,
Let's.
crazy to me. Yeah. She started up her own interior design firm and her sole proprietorship, and she got her first job, and she's just doing so well.
And
And
so many of her clients jumped ship like immediately waiting for her because they realized that she had literally been the one doing all the work and it was actually recognized that she was. Again, fever
yeah.
dream, but that's cool.
Yeah. But she's just doing so well. So after the night is over, she goes home and tells the girls that she is home safe and she just can't help but think how amazing it is. As so much could change in such a short few months. In her kitchen, she hasn't been able to stop thinking about everything just comes back to haunt her and she wanted to let it go, but it happened and it was incredible. The other part of her wanted to just wait a little longer so that she doesn't seem so desperate when she contacts them because she really wants to contact them. But, can't be desperate, be desperate. I would be desperate. That's besides the point. But she decided to listen to that voice that told her not to. And you know what? 6 months had come and gone. And even though, while it happened, it felt like the slowest period of her life. But she decides, you know what? I'm going to watch a movie. And when the movie ends, She didn't even feel tired, and she thought, fuck it. My life is on track. In the last 6 months, I fulfilled all the requirements for my Melody Chapter 2, Me, Myself, and I, and put herself first in everything, and she's finally thriving. She's 30, flirty, and thriving, guys. And so she decides she is going to make herself come and say Seos's name so
I
that
hope
she
it hasn't been
can.
6 months since she's done that.
I would cry.
Just saying.
I
I hope.
know. Yeah, maybe just not saying his name. Maybe she's come. Who knows? Maybe she's been too busy again. Who the fuck knows? Took her 7 months to use the rose. Anyways, and so she does. She comes,
Wouldn't be
and
me.
then she says Seos, and Seos steps out and comes forward and says he was afraid she wouldn't call, and she said, "Yeah, so was I." And then we noticed. I don't know why I said we noticed, but we noticed. She notices that Sin and Thrick are also there, and Seos asks why they're both standing all the way over there. And Sin says, well, you did call Seos this time, at least. He caught on to the fact she didn't actually call him the first time.
But I was gonna say they told her that she called last time, so like they weren't all butthurt
I
that
think
they didn't call her.
I think Sin knew, and he was just making a
Oh, they
little
all
pot shot at her,
knew. Yeah.
and they didn't want to assume. It had not occurred to her that Sin and Thrick might have felt a little insecure, but they're gonna do it all over again, and so much fucking happens. There's tentacles, there is Sin being knotted by Thrick, just so much more happens, and then she falls asleep again. And when she wakes up, she's afraid she's gonna be by herself, but she's not. She is surrounded by them. They're all naked. She is clean, so are the sheets, and they're cuddling, and she admits that she missed them, and they said they all missed her as well, and she asks if they'll still be there in the morning because she wants them there. And she asks if she can have them, and they say yes for as long as she wants. And that is the end of this fever dream of a book. Who was your favorite character? I don't know why I said it like that.
The fruit.
Okay. Okay. I want to know what this fruit tastes like,
I
to be
want to know a lot of
honest.
things.
I do too. Like, how dare these people? Anyways, I'm gonna say, I will also say the fruit, but hmm, I kind of like say, I like all the men, to be honest. Like, they have a cool
But
little,
I felt
like,
like Thrick got the shaft.
he did. That poor man deserved better.
Hmm.
He did get to nod her, though, so I guess there's that. And
Yeah.
he got to net Sin's ass. Net Sin's ass? No, not Sin's ass is the actual word that I was looking for.
Yeah.
So there's that. Who's your least favorite? Oh, wait, you know what? Who I really liked? Her best friend.
Yes. Yeah. That.
Besties for the
That.
resties. That was
Yes.
so lame. Ew.
And
I hate
not
myself for
resties, but yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I guess her parents.
Yeah. Yeah, her
Yeah.
parents. Also, I'm gonna say something. If this had happened to me, I would have called you instantly after this happened, and then you would have told me to call them
Yeah.
immediately.
No
Don't wait
6 months.
6 months. Do
And
it
if you
now.
didn't, I would call them for you.
That is true. Yeah, see? Because you're my real bestie. And you'd
But
be like,
I wonder if she
girl.
told her.
I don't see, that's the thing is I don't think she
I don't
did.
think she did because I think
And
she
that's
would
why
have.
I'm saying, like, I
Yeah.
would have told you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you wouldn't
So
have, and I had to find out that it happened and you didn't tell me, girl, we would be so fighting.
I
That's
think that
like,
you would, I think
listen,
that would be friendship ending.
yeah, listen. So off topic. However, for the record, I don't truly think that Taylor and what's her face are true besties. But I want to know who her bestie is that she can confide in enough that like knows when reputation is coming and whatnot and
Selena
all the
Gomez.
things. Probably, truly, probably. I know. But that's the thing because if I was besties with Taylor Swift and she didn't tell me when reputation was coming, I'd be big fat mad.
I'd be big fat mad.
I also had to
I
tell
would
my kid
be,
today that he better buckle the fuck up because we were listening to Torch Poets Department on the way to run errands today after
yeah.
school. And I said he better buckle the fuck up because I'm trying to manifest it that we should be getting Reputation Summer. And he kind of turned to me, he goes, "Oh, is that the album I like?" And I said, "Yes." And he goes, "Oh." And I was like,
I'm ready
"Yes,
for a reputation somewhere. I feel
buckle
like
the
I'm
fuck up. Are you
entering,
ready for it?"
I feel like I am entering my villain era now.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I've been in my villain era, but I'm
So
even more entering my villain era. So it's like it's getting
watch your
worse.
back.
Yeah. I was,
Like
here's the thing. I was already in my villain era, and
I
somehow it
was
just got magnified. And I didn't know that that was possible. So now it's just worse.
I was in my sad girl era, and now I'm in my villain era. And I like being in my villain era. I've been in that era a lot. I've had a lot of them,
It's
but
funny.
I'm glad to be out of my sad girl era. So Amazon gives us a 4.2 and Goodreads a 3.9.
We can get off topic sometimes. It's okay.
I
What did you rate this book?
uh, I gave it like a 3. I teetered.
Yeah. And tottered.
Yeah.
Teetered, tottered, teeter, totter.
Like a
So
seesaw.
here's the thing.
Oh boy. Here is the thing, guys.
Was this book probably as advertised? Yes. Was this book a fever dream? Yes. I can get behind that. I don't like feeling confused when I read, and I never knew where body parts were or what was going on. And when I read an erotic romance, I want to enjoy them. I don't want to be confused. So I felt like I wanted more out of this when I probably shouldn't have expected it. And that's on me.
Yeah.
So like my soul wants to give this a 2, but I feel like that's not fair because that's on me for expecting more out of what's supposed to be a fever dream.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't think I can give it, I don't think I have it in me to give it a 3. So I think I'm gonna give it a 2.5 just to
Okay.
be kinder of a human.
Okay. Now for the peppers. We can't use confusion as an excuse.
We can actually because writing
Really?
counts.
I guess
We've
so.
talked about that.
I just,
Writing counts
there was so much.
because like we've written in that like a ghost pepper is like half and half, but the scenes
See,
have to be legit
I was gonna go
and
with a
they have to
habanero,
be, oh, okay.
to be honest. Because of the legit part, I wasn't gonna go ghost pepper, but I was gonna go habanero. There was two dicks. There was ridges shaped like a Jacob's ladder.
There
There was
was
tentacles.
tentacles,
There
yeah.
was a knot because there's a werewolf dude. There were
Yeah.
three men, and then the men were fucking and
I'm
jerking
gonna
each
go
other
with
off,
a
and there was double penetra.
disappointing habanero because I expected more. I expected, with all that stuff in it, I just expected it to be an exciting read, and I expected it
Yeah.
to be like I expected more out of those scenes, and I didn't get it. It was just lackluster for me, and that's okay. But we're getting on the scale. We're getting on the
I
scale.
mean, that's
One of these
probably the
days, I'll
highest
be
we've had
better
for a
about.
while.
Yeah,
So, congratulations.
you're a winner.
You're a winner, and that's our first special of Pride Month.
Yes. Next time on the Smutty Book Club special edition, we are going to dive into an MM romance that is an office romance because Crystal loves her some office romance.
Yeah, I don't know why I love it so much.
That's okay.
I am still on the hunt for a really good romantic comedy. The dude's a spy, the girl's not a spy, but he thinks she's a spy, and like chaos ensues. That's all I want in life. I've read one book like that, and it wasn't even I read it, I listened to it, and that was the only one I had. And you know what? I love that shit.
I'm going to ask ChatGPT.
No, good Lord.
What did you say? You said, uh, do
Rom-com
you know of a
spy.
rom-com featuring a
The dude's a
male
spy
character that is a spy and a female character
who is
that
not,
is
but he
not a
thinks she's a
spy,
spy.
but the male character
It's very specific.
thinks the female is a spy and pursues her as such.
Yeah. God, that's so specific.
There are several romantic comedies that feature a male spy who mistakenly believes a woman is also a spy, leading to humorous and romantic situations. Here are a few notable examples. One is, oh shit, hold on. Can you find one that is a book? Should have specified.
Oh.
Okay. The Spy and I by Tiana Smith. In this fast-paced comedy, Dove Barkley, a cybersecurity analyst, is mistakenly identified as her super spy twin. So when a
Oh.
CIA agent arrives, believing Dove is Madison, he ropes her into a high-stakes mission to prevent a national crisis. Despite her lack of espionage experience, Dove must navigate the world of spies, all while questioning Mendez's true intentions. The novel has been praised for its blend of humor, suspense, and chemistry between the leads, and readers have enjoyed the mix of mistaken identity and romantic tension, with some noting that the story's fast-paced and engaging twists. Thank you. Smiley face.
You're so funny.
Always thank your AI guys, because when they take over the world, we might not die quite right away.
That's true. Anyways, so
You're very welcome. If you end up reading The Spy and I'd love to hear what you think. Happy reading and enjoy the espionage-fueled romance.
so we have found it. So lovely. Maybe I'll read that.
And we might have to
Um,
put it on the wheel. If you want to hear it on the wheel, let us know.
yeah.
And with
Oh, I'm
that,
gonna, yes. With that, join us as we continue our Pride Month and have fun. It's gonna be great. We're gonna have a great time
make sure to keep reading.
and keep it smutty. She just texts back, guess, then heads to her bedroom. Or nope, to her bathroom, not her bedroom. Because that's wrong. Seos, I thought all your guards were your not guards. It was a mouthful, just like this book. Their names are say. What the fuck did I say? Seos.
Seos.
What? Yep. Seos. Seos asks. Seos asks. Oh my God! Why can't I speak? And P.S. The food is going to last forever. Forever. What? Forever.
Forever.
So much could change in just in such a short everything. I don't know why it says all this sentence because it does the sentence in my mouth. Don't want to say any of the words.
I don't know if I told you this story. We were either at breakfast or something. Some reason we were in the cafeteria one day. And I probably did what I always do and turned something into a song. Like today, and one of the teachers was like, you need to keep your hands to yourself. And I went, can't keep my hands to myself. And then she turned and looked at me
why would I want to?
as if I made it up. And she was just like, because she's, Anyway.
You can pretend to be a bad bitch. It's fine.
Yeah, non-committal. So my boss had walked over to me and she was like, I am obsessed with this one, lyric of this one thing. And I keep playing it over and over in my head. It's awful. But I've only heard it on TikTok. Have you heard of it? And it was the, say that again, I didn't quite hear you. Messed with the wrong bitch
in the wrong era.
And I was like, girl, that's on my
feminine rage playlist.
Female rage playlist. Yeah, my feminine rage playlist. And she goes, You have a feminine rage playlist? I was like, yeah, girl. Yeah, I do. And so she needed me to send it to her. And she's been playing it and sending to people.
That's fantastic. I have a depression slaps hard, but this playlist slaps harder. Listen.
I'm here. I'm just getting my computer.
Okay.
I don't have my headphones yet. I just dropped my freaking drink everywhere because I'm fucking an idiot.
Ariel's falling apart already. We haven't even started.
So it took me an extra minute.